Hey guys, Brad here again. Today's video we're going to go over some plants and some planting techniques. So the first thing we're going to go over is mangroves. These are freshwater accumulated mangroves that I got from a gentleman in Edmonton. His name's Jason, and he has a store called Fishroom. And I'm going to I'll put a link in the description. So for these plants, you need to float them in the water. You don't want the spike to be above the water. You want the roots to be in the water. So I'm floating them by using a little bit of styrofoam, just using a drill bit, and I'm poking a couple holes. Makes a bit of a mess, but it is what it is. So once you get the holes, make sure not to break the spike off. You feed it through and then pull it nice and tight. Same thing with the other one, and then just pull it tight and just pop it in the tank and it'll float. I'll show an overview of all the planting techniques that we do at the end of the video. So the next one we're going to go over is using the bowl or the pot inside the aquarium. So this is the bowl that I got from the dollar store in last week's video. So just want to wipe it out with a little bit of vinegar. I already put some vinegar on the paper towel here. So get her nice and wiped down. And then I like to start off with this product here. It's called First Layer. It's by API. So just put a little bit in. The next product I like to use is one by Tropica. It is plant growth substrate. It's more like a dirt. Now, if you have digging fish, this will make a bit of a mess if they start digging in there. And the next product I like to use is an active substrate. This one is Amazonia by ADA. It's an aqua soil. And you have to watch if you're putting this into an already established tank. The active substrates can release ammonia. I like to mix in a little bit of Eco-Complete into the active substrate. It just helps weigh it down a little bit. And Eco-Complete is a lot cheaper than the active substrates. So now that you have this all filled up, you're actually going to need to wet down the soil. So I just grab it from any aquarium. Doesn't matter where it comes from. Now by making it wet, it just helps it to settle in a little bit better. So in this pot here, I'm going to be planting some Cryptococcus spiralis. So first things first, if you have lots of roots growing out of the bottom, if you have some aquascaping tools, like I have here, I have a whole set. Grab a pair of scissors. The flat scissors are better than the curved scissors. And snip the roots off. You're better to cut them than to rip them off. Now, take out pot, and now you're left with the what's it called, rock wool. So now peel the rock wool off of the plant, and if you look very closely, you can see there's actually more than one plant here. Sometimes they will separate okay, sometimes they won't. There's one. Looks like there's only two. There's another starter one here, but it doesn't have very much on it, so I'm just going to leave it attached. So when you go to plant these, you want your it's better to use tweezers. You don't have to, you can plant them with your finger. Grab the plant by the base, hold the roots, stick the roots into the dirt, pull up a little bit, open your tweezers, and then pull out. And make sure that it's tight in there. So now you place this in the aquarium, and the cryptocurines actually should spread around and fill this up. The next plant we're going to talk about is another potted plant. This one is a nubius, it's a rhymezone plant. So when you get this one out, again you want to get the rock wool off. And sometimes it's easier said than done. Now the better you can get this off, the better this planting technique will actually work with this plant. So one thing you have to be careful with rhymezone plants is you do not want to plant them in soil and bury the rhymezone. The rhymezone is susceptible to rotting if you bury it. So you don't want your plant to rot out. It will die if you do that. So that's about as good as I'm going to be able to get it here, it looks like. Now this one I'm going to cut in half, and it actually has a nice split where I can cut it. Might be two plants. No, it's not two plants. The rhymezone is split into three. So I'm going to take one piece of the rhymezone and I'm going to cut it off. So I want a piece that has roots. So here's my piece of rhymezone. And here's the remainder of the plant. So what I'm going to do is I got a little bit of crazy glue. You want the gel. The other crazy glue is too runny, and it will just make a mess. You won't actually be able to use it. So what I'm going to do is you gotta pop it on. I'm going to glue it onto move the little piece onto an apisto hut. This is why you want the gel, so it will actually set up with the plant on there. Then I'm going to take the big piece, and I got this big hunk of Malaysian driftwood. So, get a generous amount of glue on there. And the last rhymezone plant we have is a little piece of bucephalandra. And again, you don't want to plant bucephalandra. With it being a rhymezone, you don't want it to be in the dirt. So there we go. We've got a piece of Boost on a rock, a piece of Anubias on an apisto hut, and a large Anubias on a piece of driftwood. And once these are all glued together, you can go ahead and place them into the aquarium. And again, like I said, I'll show you after. So there we go, all the plants are nice and secure in their aquariums. Now, the last thing we're going to go over is how to use a house plant in the aquarium. So, I got the little baskets I showed you last week. This is not actually my original idea. I got it from a video with a guy called Arctic Light Aquatics. I will post a link to his channel somewhere, so it'll either be in the description or in the cards. So I have this growth substrate. It came in these aqua farms that I sold when I had my store. Sorry, I can't really show it in the video. I had a few left over, and I'm not going to use them the way they were intended to, so I'm just going to use the growth substrate for this. So the first thing you want to do is loosen up the pot, pull the plant out, and break the soil off. Be careful not to hurt the roots. Because you still want your plant to grow. And you never know what's actually in the dirt that comes from these nurseries. These are most tropical plants you buy in the store come from Florida. at least if you're in North America. So this plant actually has really fine roots. But just tapping it on the side gently, it releases a lot of the dirt. So as you get this almost done, get as far as you can. That's about as far as I can get by tapping. You grab a bucket of water, just a little bit of dechlorinated tap water, and swish the roots around. You can see a lot more of the dirt's coming out now. This particular plant has very fine roots, and it is 3 individual plants. Actually 4 individual plants. So again, you have to be careful not to damage the roots too much. Once you damage the root ball, it's going to be detrimental to the plant. So get it nice and cleaned off. Now if you try this at home, the growth media that I have here is obviously going to be hard to find. I don't know anywhere that would sell it as just itself. But if you go to an aquaponic store, you can get the little brown ceramic balls, and it's the same idea as these. It might actually be a little bit better. This white media that I have here floats. So when I put it in, I have to cap it with gravel. There we go. The root balls are now all about as clean as I'm going to be able to get. So now, the tricky part, you have to take out some of this. You want to put the plants in individually in such a way that they'll stay. Now, just take a little bit of aquarium gravel. Cap it off so the growth media doesn't float. The other thing you have to watch for is to make sure that the plants are actually going to be good for hydroponic growing. I don't actually know. This is just plants that they had in stock at my Walmart. Next time I go to the city, I am going to look for some proper hydroponic growing plants. So there it is there. I'll stick it in an aquarium, and then I'll come get you guys, and we'll go and look at everything. Let me just pull you off my tripod here. So we'll start in the mixed community tank. You can see the Anubias and the Apisto hut there. We'll come over and you can see the Bucephalandra beside the other piece that's been elasticed on. And we'll come over here. So here's another one of those that I set up earlier just to try it out. Now the tops of the leaves are browning a little bit, but there's also some new growth going on, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on with it. There's the one we just set up. Probably going to move it to a different aquarium. Now also here is the mangroves. You can see they just bob along, and there's their roots below the water line. And last but not least, here is the little glass bowl that we set up. And like I said, I put it in an empty aquarium. It can cause a bit of an ammonia spike. So we'll see how everything goes. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and stay tuned for next week's video. Thanks. Bye.